Hi, welcome back again. Do you want to get on the AI automation agency bandwagon with all of the exciting opportunities that are available, but you can't code? If you don't have any money for a development team, or maybe you're too young to employ someone to make a bot for you, then this video series will be perfect for you. My challenge in the next set of videos is to train complete non-coders, people that can't code, to be able to code an AI bot in less than 6 hours of learning. So how is that possible? Well, it's possible because you won't actually be doing the coding. What I'm going to teach you is principles and the basics of how code works. And how to break down tasks into smaller chunks. Then we're going to get our new friend ChatGPT to actually do the coding for us. So we're going to be using Voiceflow and PipeDream, as you've seen in my previous videos. We're going to be learning programming principles, and then we're going to get ChatGPT to program JavaScript for us. So by the end of the video series, I'm going to be choosing 4 people to do a free masterclass with. They're going to have an idea of what type of bot that they want to program. And I'm going to create a video series that shows how they went on, how well they did in actually trying to create their bot. So I'm really excited to start this video series off. And today we're going to be learning about variables and operators. Let me explain. Okay, so now we're going to look at something called variables. So what are variables? Well, they are values that can change. In other words, they are variable, they can change. And we always give a variable a name, and most of the time we give it a value or some data. So the first type of variable we're going to look at is the number variables, and these can be used to do calculations. So let's see how we program in JavaScript these variables. First of all, we use this command, then we give the variable a name, in this case age, and then most of the time we give the variable a value, so in this case 30. So this type of variable is a number variable. It stores numbers. So here we've got another example of here's the command let price, that's the name of the variable, equals $9.99. That's fairly simple. Let's go on to the next type of variable. These are string variables, and they're usually used for text values or storing amounts of text. So again, how do we make this type of variable? We start with the let, we give it a name, in this case name, and then we put quotation marks around the text that we want that variable to contain. So the name variable here will contain John Doe. Let's have a look at another example. So here we've got let, that's the command, message, that's the name of the variable. We're telling it that it equals, we use the quotation marks, and we're putting hello world. So message would now contain this text, hello world. Fairly simple so far. We've got another type of variable called a Boolean, and this is a logic variable. It's part of the logic type of variables. This one's used for true or false, 0 or 1 values. So how do we make that? Well, again, we use the let, give it a name, and equals, we'd use the word true or false. So is student has the value of true, and is working has a value false. We usually use these when we're doing conditions and logic. Here's another type, a null. So what's a null? A null means nothing. So what we've done here is we've defined a variable with let, we've given it a name, but we've given it a nothing value. And that's handy if we need to check whether this value had changed because of a calculation, or if it remained nothing. The next type of variable is a date type of variable. Now we've got two types of date type of variable. We've got one which is a number date type of variable. So here we're going to use a different command, const, and that does exactly the same thing as let. It's just another way of declaring a variable. But here we've given it the name today, so the variable's called today. And here we've given a function, we're using a function, and this is a new date function. And what that puts in there is it puts today's date as a number. So as you can see here, it's a number, some of which you may well be able to recognize, other parts may well confuse you. You don't need to worry about that at the moment. The second type of date variable is a string date variable. So it is a string just like over here. So const today equals date, not new date, but date, puts the date in as a string. So it's actually some text which we could use to print to the screen. Finally, we have the array variable. Now this is a variable where we give it a name, but it contains a collection of values. And each collection of values we can manipulate or we can use in a certain way. So let's have a look how that happens. So again, we use let, we're declaring a variable, we give it a name, and this is a string array. So it's got red, green and blue in this colors variable. So it's got three values. Here we've got a numbered array, so it contains numbers. So again, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can think of an array rather like a book cabinet, yeah, or any sort of cabinet that has shelves, and you'd have a different item on each shelf. And of course you can manipulate that item, you can take it out or put something in that shelf. So that's what an array is like. So here we're defining another variable, but we're saying here, so let one color, so variable one color equals one of the colors stored in this colors variable. So let me go through that again. We're defining a new variable called one color. We're saying that it equals one of the colors, yeah, in this variable called colors. So here we've got a square bracket. So that's how we get which one of these it's going to put in this variable. So can you guess which color will be in the one color variable? So let's count these. 1, 2, 3. So we've got a number 1 here. Do you think that this one color is going to have the text in red? Well, if you thought that, you'd be incorrect. Now why? The correct answer is green. What we have to remember with array variables is they start from the number 0. Unlike the way that we normally count starting from the number 1, arrays start from the number 0. Here, colors if we had 0 in there, then it would be red. So this variable would equal red. If we had 1, which we do, 0, 1 takes us to green. And if we had 2, it would obviously be blue. So other things that we need to make sure that our JavaScript code has is at the end of each line we end it with a semicolon like so. And then if we're going to use an array, we need to make sure that we use these open square brackets and at the end a closed square bracket. All of the items are separated by a comma. And with the numbers, again, they're all separated by a comma. So what's an operator? Well, an operator is anything that we can use with a variable to make calculations or changes. So we can do it with numbers or strings. We're just going to look at the ones that deal with arithmetic or numbers. So the first one is the addition. Again, that's pretty easy. This is how we would code it. Let sum equals 5 plus 3. So sum would end up with the number 8. 5 plus 3 is 8. Okay, that's straightforward. The next one is subtraction, and again it's very straightforward. It subtracts the right operand from the left operand. What does that mean? Well, you start with 10, it subtracts 4 from 10, and of course the answer would be 6. So difference would equal 6. Very straightforward. Okay, now multiplication. We don't use the cross or the X symbol in programming. We use the star or sometimes asterisk it's called, and this indicates something's going to get multiplied. So here let product equal 6 times 7. That of course is 42. And next we go on to division, which again we don't use the division symbol, we use this slash symbol. Okay, so we've got 20, we want to divide it by 5, so the answer would be 4. So that's how simple the simple operators can be. So we're going to use this JavaScript testing website. We'll use this to test code that ChatGPT gives us later, but now we're just going to use it to make a little bit of code up. Okay, so here we're going to create a variable called A. We're going to put the number 2 in. We're going to create a variable called B and put the number 3 in. And now we're going to do a simple calculation. Notice we're not using let. This is a shortcut. Sometimes when you're doing these things you don't have to put let in, especially with calculations. So there we go. We're saying C plus B and C times B. Now we're using this console log. This is a way for us to print the answers to the screen. So here it will print the answer that's in variable C, which is that calculation, and variable D, which is the other calculation, the multiplication. So let's see what happens. So we've got 23 and 6. So how is 2 plus 3 23? Well, it's because this is a string variable. So all it's actually done is added the strings together. So you cannot multiply strings, so it assumes it is actually a number, and that's why 6 is correct. Let's change this then. We're going to put these two as names instead. So we're going to put Freddie in and Bobby. So what happens when we run the code now? Well, look, it's added Freddie and Bobby together, and the other one, it said it's null. It's not made sense because there wasn't a number in the string. So here's a neat trick if we're absolutely sure those strings contain only numbers. We can use this function parseInt to turn the string into a number, and then that enables us to do all of the normal calculations that we could do with a number variable. For all you programmers out there that's saying, Pete, that wasn't 100% correct. Yes, I know some of my explanations are not, but they are made simple so that learners can get the idea. So I'm trying to give a simplified explanation that doesn't overly complicate things. Details of how you can apply to be one of those to be given a free masterclass will be given in the future. That brings us to the end of our first video. So I hope the explanations were simple enough and that you enjoyed learning. Trust me, by the end of this series you'll be creating bots probably better than you would ever imagine. So next time we're going to learn a little bit more about code, but we're going to get into actually using ChatGPT to create some code. Please don't forget to subscribe, leave a like or make a comment. So thank you for watching. See you next time.